Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. There was a time when he believed success was just one more try away. Every morning he woke up with the same fire in his chest and the same promise to himself: today will be different. Today will be the day everything changes. He wrote goals on sticky notes, watched endless motivational videos, and repeated affirmations in the mirror until his voice felt tired. For 2 years, he chased success like it was running just a few steps ahead of him. And for 2 years, it kept slipping through his fingers. He wasn't lazy. In fact, he worked harder than most people around him. He started projects with excitement, stayed up late learning new skills, and pushed himself even when his mind begged for rest. But every effort seemed to end the same way. A business idea failed. A job opportunity disappeared. A carefully planned project collapsed at the last minute. Each failure felt heavier than the one before. At first, he treated setbacks like lessons. He smiled and said, "This is part of the journey." But as months turned into years, those words started to taste bitter. Friends began to move ahead in their lives. They celebrated promotions, new homes, and milestones he secretly wished were his. He clapped for them, smiled in photos, and said he was happy. And he truly was, but every celebration reminded him of the quiet space where his own success should have been. At night, when the world was silent, doubt crept into his thoughts. He wondered if he was chasing the wrong dream or if he simply wasn't good enough. Still, he refused to quit. He believed persistence was the key. Every failure only pushed him to try harder. He added more hours to his schedule, more pressure to his shoulders, and more expectations to his heart. He thought success would reward effort alone. He didn't realize he was slowly turning his dream into a burden. After 2 exhausting years, he reached a breaking point. One particular day started like any other. He woke up early, reviewed his plans, and prepared to tackle another long list of tasks. But something felt different. The energy he once felt was gone. His movements were slow, his thoughts heavy. When another opportunity slipped away that afternoon, he didn't feel anger or sadness. He felt empty. He sat alone in his room, staring at the wall, surrounded by notes and plans that once inspired him. For the first time in 2 years, he allowed himself to admit a painful truth. He was tired of trying. Not tired in his body, but tired in his spirit. The constant pressure to succeed had drained the joy from his work. Success was no longer a dream, it was a demand he placed on himself every second of every day. That evening, he made a decision that shocked even him. He stopped trying. He didn't tear up his goals or declare defeat. He simply chose to pause. He put away his notebooks, turned off the motivational videos, and stepped outside without a plan. He walked through his neighborhood with no destination, feeling the cool air on his face. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't chasing anything. As he walked, memories surfaced. He remembered why he started his journey in the first place. It wasn't about proving others wrong or racing against his peers. It was about curiosity, creativity, and the simple joy of building something meaningful. Somewhere along the way, he had lost that feeling. He had replaced passion with pressure. Over the next few days, he allowed himself to rest. He did things he hadn't done in years. He read books for fun instead of strategy. He met friends without turning every conversation into networking. He explored hobbies without worrying about turning them into income. At first, guilt whispered in his ear, telling him he was wasting time. But as the days passed, that guilt grew quieter. In the silence of not trying so hard, clarity began to appear. He started to see patterns in his past failures. He realized he had been chasing every opportunity instead of committing deeply to one path. He had confused movement with progress. By constantly switching directions, he never gave himself the chance to master anything. This realization didn't come with shame. It came with understanding. He saw that his desperation for success had made him impatient. He wanted results so quickly that he overlooked the value of slow, steady growth. For the first time, he felt compassion for himself. He understood that failure wasn't proof of inadequacy, it was feedback he had been too busy to hear. When he finally returned to his work, his approach was different. He chose one goal and stripped it down to its simplest form. Instead of focusing on distant outcomes, he focused on daily actions he could control. He worked with calm intention rather than frantic urgency. Each small step felt meaningful because it was no longer tied to unrealistic expectations. He also changed the way he measured success. Before, success meant big achievements and visible milestones. Now, it meant consistency, learning, and personal growth. He celebrated finishing a task, understanding a new concept, or improving a skill. These quiet victories rebuilt his confidence piece by piece. Something unexpected happened as a result. Opportunities started to appear again, but this time he didn't chase them desperately. He evaluated them carefully and chose only those aligned with his path. His calm focus made his work stronger. People noticed the difference. They saw someone who was steady, thoughtful, and committed. Months later, he looked back at the day he stopped trying and realized it wasn't a day of surrender. It was a day of transformation. By stepping away from constant pressure, he had rediscovered the heart of his ambition. He learned that success isn't forced through endless struggle. It grows from clarity, patience, and genuine passion. His journey didn't suddenly become easy. Challenges still appeared, and setbacks still tested his resolve. But his relationship with failure had changed. He no longer saw it as an enemy. He saw it as a teacher guiding him toward improvement. Each obstacle became an opportunity to refine his approach rather than question his worth. Through this process, he also learned the importance of balance. He understood that a life built entirely around achievement is fragile. True strength comes from nurturing relationships, health, and personal happiness alongside professional goals. By caring for these areas, he created a foundation that supported his ambitions instead of competing with them. The most powerful lesson he learned was about identity. For 2 years, he had tied his self-worth to his success. Every failure felt like a personal judgment. When he stopped trying, he separated who he was from what he achieved. He recognized that his value existed independently of outcomes. This realization freed him from the fear that once controlled his actions. As his mindset shifted, his work gained a new depth. He approached challenges with curiosity instead of anxiety. He asked better questions, sought meaningful feedback, and remained open to change. This openness allowed him to grow faster than he ever had during his desperate pursuit of success. Eventually, the results he once chased so fiercely began to materialize. His focused efforts led to tangible achievements. Projects succeeded. Opportunities expanded. Recognition followed. But when success arrived, it felt different from what he had imagined. It wasn't a sudden explosion of happiness. It was a quiet confirmation that he was on the right path. He understood then that success is not a destination reached through relentless pressure. It is a byproduct of consistent, thoughtful effort guided by purpose. The day he stopped trying so hard was the day he started working in harmony with himself instead of against himself. His story is a reminder that desperation can cloud judgment and drain joy. When the pursuit of success becomes overwhelming, stepping back is not weakness. It is an act of courage. It creates space for reflection, learning, and renewal. In that space, true progress begins. He still carries ambition in his heart, but it no longer controls him. He moves forward with patience and trust in the process. He knows that growth takes time and that every step, no matter how small, contributes to a larger journey. This understanding gives him resilience that desperation never could. Looking back on those 2 years of failure, he no longer feels regret. He sees them as essential chapters in his story. They taught him humility, persistence, and the value of self-awareness. Without those struggles, he might never have discovered the balance that now defines his approach to life. Today, when he faces new challenges, he remembers the lesson of that pivotal day. He reminds himself to breathe, to focus on the present, and to work with intention rather than fear. This mindset keeps him grounded and allows him to navigate uncertainty with confidence. His journey continues, shaped by the wisdom gained from both failure and growth. He understands that success is not a straight line but a winding path filled with lessons. By embracing those lessons, he transforms obstacles into stepping stones. And as he moves forward, he carries a quiet certainty within him. He knows that he is capable of adapting, learning, and persevering. He trusts that even when progress feels slow, meaningful change is happening beneath the surface. The day he stopped trying wasn't the end of his ambition. It was the beginning of a healthier, more sustainable pursuit of his dreams. It taught him that sometimes the most powerful step forward is a moment of stillness. In that stillness, he found clarity. In clarity, he found direction. And in direction, he found the path to the success he had been seeking all along.